Hi everyone, I'm Anli Chen from Material Art and Design Department. And after I getting a bachelor degree in Tainan University of Art, I decided I want to continue my study in fiber art field. So this is few questions that I face at the beginning. So first, why I choose to study abroad, and of course, I think that's based on the fiber art nature. That in Taiwan, fiber art is such a small field, and if you want to continue a graduate degree, and in Taiwan, basically only few school you can choose. And because I'm already studying in this school, so I decided I want to go to another country to see how they teach or how people understand fiber art and what people are doing with fiber art. So I decided I want to study in another country. And next, then I face to another question is, so which school I want to choose and which country I want to go. So there are a few very practical elements that you need to decide. So the most important thing is you need to do research, and research is including in many different aspects. So first, the location, right? Which country or which city, which state you want to go. And for me, I don't want to learn another language. I know it will be too much work for me to start all over again. So I decided I want to study in a country who use English as their first language. So it leaves to United States and United Kingdom. And next, I start to research on the program. So basically, in UK, the fiber art field is more linked to design field, textile design and surface design, which is not my interest at that time. So I decided I want to go to the US, and I started to do research on all different schools, and there's many aspects you can do and you can research. And there's a very practical website called MFA Study in Taiwan. I think many people use this website. So basically, I think it's not limited only for for US schools, but mainly the the field is including art and design and architecture. And you can get almost all the information from this website. So like you can see above, there's like a list of school, and you can see like what's the major. You can find your school based on the major that you are interested in. And this will tell you how to apply for the schools. So what document you should prepare, and what kind of language level or like certificate you should get, and how to apply visa, everything, how to prepare your proposal, your work, and even including your CV. Okay. And another thing you can check is the ranking. And this is how I decide which school I want to go. So in fiber field, I think this website will link to another website called US News. And on this website, you can find out ranking of basically any kind of schools or many universities and colleges that you can rank them in like overall ranking, or in like specifically which major, which program you are finding. And so at that time, I just type in fiber, and I got like 6 or 7 school in a list. And then I starting to look into those schools. And what you should know, like what you should know about those schools is that you're looking for like what kind of program they have, and like how many degree or how many course you need to take, during the year. Is the program for like 2 years, 1 year? Is a semester or is a quarter section? And also very important, like how much money you need to prepare, like all the tuition fee or the fee for the dorm, like, and your own lifespans. So this is what you need to know, very important things. And on the fiber art list, I know the school in New York or in the California will be really expensive, so I choose not to go there. And also something there might not show on the website is after you apply, and if they really want to get you, and then sometimes they will offer you a scholarship. And this kind of information you should look carefully in their website. So maybe they have different scholarship for example, for women, for certain, just for certain type of students, or just overall, or some scholarship they are limited. For example, they only offer them to the U.S. citizen. So this is something you should look into, or you should get in touch with the school and to find out. So this is like the basic things that you should know when you want to apply for school, and then you can choose the school basing on this few points. And also you will find out another very important things, and not just for where the location is a school, and not just for the tuition fee and the money. And what's really the most important thing is, do you see yourself studying, you fit in, or this school will challenge you? And how do you find this out? It means you need to go to a website and look into their teachers' work and students' work. And you, by doing this research, you can figure out what's their style of teaching and what you can get from the education in the US. So this is something, I think this is the most important things, and you need to feel challenged and you need to feel fit in. So in my case, I was accepted by a few different schools, and Cranbrook was I think it's on the top of the ranking at that time in 2011 to 2012. So I know this will be very special opportunity for me to be studying in this school. But also I got offered scholarship by the State University of Arizona. So like they offer me quite good actually. It's like $18,000 with a TA job, and then so it basically saved me like more than half of the tuition fee and living expense I might need. So I was quite struggle which one should I choose. And of course, if I choose Arizona State, and I will save a lot of money. But after I looking into their website, I found out Cranbrook is more experimental, more conceptual, and Arizona State is a little bit more traditional style, which is not what I really interesting. So I decided to choose Cranbrook at the end. Okay, so this is something we all can do, and to try to imagine and try to looking for what is the right place for you to go. Okay, so there are also some very practical things after you decide which school you want to go, and then you need to looking carefully, for example, for the application material, like what do you need to prepare? For example, you might need recommendation letter, you need application form, and you need to have all your work together. And sometimes they want you to send a file to them. Sometimes there's like online space, then you should update all the writing material, all the images of your work to that certain space. So to find out the detail of what you should prepare for apply to the school is very important. And they are not that hard to prepare. Like everything is in the system and everything you can done by yourself. but you just need a lot of work. And especially every school's deadline for application is different. And every school's, for example, if you want to go to the US, you need to take TOEFL test. And for graduate program in art field, the average TOEFL score they are asking for is 80. But for some schools, for example, like the very top ranking school, for example, like Yale, they will require over 100, then you can apply for it. And sometimes it's not that, it doesn't mean that if you don't get enough score or enough, if you're, for example, your score in the US, in the undergrad is not good enough, and then you might decide that maybe I'm not qualified to apply for this school, but it's not necessary. Sometimes I know some students, because they are really good, the school really want them to join them. So even they don't have enough TOEFL score, sometimes they will allow you to enroll, or sometimes they will ask you, says, I will keep a spot for you, but for this year, you should try harder on taking the test. And if you pass, next year you can join us. So there are always an exception. And what's really helpful, if you really want this, want to know more about the school and you have any question, they are always very welcome you to write an email to the school, and they will try their best to answer your questions. So get in touch with the school is also a good way. Okay, so the last one is understand your visa, which is I will mention at the end of the presentation. That I am not sure the regulation of the visa is changing or not, but in my case, you can get your visa for your school year and plus 1 month extension. So if the school ends in May 1st, and then you can stay in the country until June 1st. And after your student visa, there is an extension visa for 1 year. And that 1 year, you need to apply for it. So remember the deadline for applying the extension visa is very important too. So after you apply for the 1 year extension, you can stay in the country. It's meant for you to get a job. So for the 1 year period, you can try to find a job. And if you can convince your boss or the company is helping you to apply for a work visa, and that means you can extend in your visa and change to a work visa, which is possible, but to be honest, it's quite difficult because each year there's a limitation amount for how many people can get the work visa, and it's always very competitive. Okay. So this is for after you finish your school year. Okay, so let's talk about the school I go to, which is Cranbrook Academy of Art. And it is located in Michigan, here. Michigan State the shape is like a left-hand palm, and the school is right here. So below your thumb, this area. It's not a very typical space or typical city that foreigner would go to. So most people go to the East Coast or West Coast. So people go to California, go to LA, and go to New York. And Midwest is some places, for some people, it's out of nowhere. So they don't have like big cities or big events, and it's basically a big suburb area. And the most close main city is Chicago, which you'll need to drive for around 6 hours to get there. So that's something that you don't do like every weekend or every day. And also you can see from the map, it's up north. So over this line, this is Canada. So Michigan is very, very, very cold. So each year there's almost like 5 to 6 months is below 0 degree, 0 Celsius. So there will be snow, a lot of snow. So which is something that a Taiwanese wouldn't get used to, something you need to learn, like how to clean the snow off from your car window, how to walk in the snow, and how to dress for the snow weather. So that's something interesting, but yeah, you need to take a little bit of time to get used to it. Okay, so this is my school. Cranbrook is not just an art school, it's a big community of education. So as you can see, Academy of Art is here, and there are few different school. They are boarding school for boys, for girls, for high school, and for middle school. So there are many different systems in this area. And basically, and they are very far away apart, so you don't see those people in your daily life. So our area will be around this space. And not only with the different schools, we have like art museum, which we will talk about later, and we have a science museum. I think is here. We're here. So this is the Academy of Art looks like. We have a main road, and along the sides they are different departments studio. And this is the art museum and library. And there's an extension for the new building. It's for the craft department, so which I was located. So the school was built in the early 20th century. It was built by a Finnish architect called Saaren. And Saaren is quite famous in the US. So the school keep a lot of, for example, his old house and the old building. So you can see like the brick architecture was influenced by the art and craft movement, and like the heavy wooden door with geometric decoration on it. So this is the house. This is actually the studio for 2D and 3D department. So you walk into this door, and you each side is a department. Okay, and this is the Saaren house. So Saaren house, you can see they have a lot of custom-made furniture, and they are open for visiting. So you need to make a reservation, and you can go into there. And there are a lot of handmade furniture, handmade textile, which is quite amazing. You can see. Okay, and this is the courtyard for the 2D and 3D department. So each of the window you can see is for each student's studio. This is an extended new building, which they put all the craft department in it. So the second floor is fiber, and then ceramic, and underneath is metal. And the reason they put us in this building, because those three departments, they require more equipment they need to use for their work. So on the left, you can see most of the equipment is put in these rooms. And the red dot, that's my studio. You can see each student will be assigned for their own space. And mine is just next to a big window. Okay, and this is the Cranbrook Art Museum, and it's a contemporary art museum. It's not that big, but like every other museum, it will hold shows for different themes, and for each of the shows lasts around 3 months. And the yearly degree show will also happen in here. So before you graduate, every student need to participate in the degree show. It will be a big group show, and everyone's work will be displayed in this space. So different angle, different room. And not just for the contemporary art, they also have some more classic artwork in the collection. And they actually have really good archive and good collection for the artwork, which is also amazing to see. So for example, this is the Joseph Albert's work. And like I just said, that because this school is starting from the architecture program, and it was founded and built by a very famous architect. So the school got very strong connection with the 20th century, the mid-century design and mid-century architect. So I think this is a show for the punk rock. So this is something also very amazing to see, that for each year the school will holding fundraising event, and the fundraising event they will invite all the rich people to visit and to have a dinner party. And also will be a students of open studio, so they will go visit your studio, take a look at your work, and maybe some students will get the opportunity. And also for this period of time, it's a good chance for everyone to join the tour, to look at the collection and look at the warehouse for the museum. So you can see on the left, they have many two-dimensional work like paintings. And on the right, you can see they have many classic furniture. It was really fun and really interesting to do all this event. And what I mentioned about the school is very special. And one of the reason is this school, in Cranbrook, there's no course and there's no score. There's not, of course, there's standard you need to meet to be able to graduate, but you don't need to choose which course you want to go. Most of the time, you don't need to worry, did I get a good grade or did I pass? So in Cranbrook, it's more like an artist residency setup. Cranbrook is a very small school. Now it's 11 department. They added a 4D design a few years back, like 1 or 2 years ago. And so there's 11 department, and they only have graduate students in the department. So each department, they will be around 15 students for each department. So the whole art school will be usually it's around 150 to 170, 150 and to 170 students. So it's quite small setup. And so at the end, you will know everyone. Or even you don't talk to them, you know their names, you know their works. So it's quite closed environment to learn from each other. So each department, even we have departments set up, but they are not limited you to only use the medium that you are limited the medium your department is using. So for example, if you are in fiber, you don't necessarily need to use yarn. You don't need to do like weaving or dyeing or embroidery. You can do anything you want, only if it's the fibers spirit. So the limitation is very small. The school is very small. And so you don't need to take courses. Each department, you only have one department head, which is, they don't call it professor, they call it as artist in residence. So the department head, and also it's actually your teachers, they will make sure the department is running, but each department's running is in very different way. So for example, in fiber, you don't have courses to take, but each week we have seminar, we have book reading, and sometimes the professor will have some assignment for us to do. And also each student need to take 3 critiques in 1 semester. And the critiques is, you can sign up by yourself. So you can decide what time I want to do my critiques. Each critiques take an hour. And at the end of, we will see some images later. Okay, so this is the studio for, I think this is for fiber studio because it's on the second floor. But you can see the student is not doing anything based in craft. So as you can see. So this setup, this is in a new building. So it's like my old studio setting. So everyone have their own cubicles. So you have your own rooms. A room is but without doors. It's just like a few boards to separate the space, but you can do whatever you want in this space. And of course, there's some commute sharing space in a department. So I didn't choose the image in my presentation, but in fiber, there's a dining room with big pots and big stove, and there's a dark room, and there's a big room for mainly people use it for screen printing. So, and also the very interesting thing is each department have a kitchen in their studio. So kitchen is very important in Cranbrook because it's very far away from everything. You need to, as you can see the map that we showed before here. So we are here and the main road is here. So from the school, for example, my studio is here. You want to drive all the way to the front door, is take like 10 minutes. And from the main road, you need to drive to downtown to go to supermarket or to just grab some food. It will take another 10 to 15 minutes. So you can see all the distance is really far away. And there's a cafeteria in school, but not on the art school campus. It's around here. So the cafeteria is in, we will see the image later, but it's in the boys' school. So you can share the cafeteria with high school students. The food is okay, but you need to walk all the way to there, and they only serve food in a limited time. And of course, you won't find convenience store on the campus or anywhere else, actually. I know there's a convenience store with the gas station, which also you need to drive like 10 to 15 minutes. And they don't have so many services like Taiwan's convenience store. So with the kitchen, it's very important. So you need to cook for yourself, and sometimes we share meals together. So there's also a good time for you to try to bind with your classmate or your visiting artist. Okay, so for the school event, there's no course, but there are many events you need to do where you can choose to do. So what's mandatory is the critique for each department. Usually each student need to take 2 to 3 critiques for each year, and of course need to participate in other people's critique, because in Cranbrook, it's not teacher commenting in students' work, it's students commenting to each other's work. So you are not just need to take the critiques for your work, you also need to try to offer opinion or join the discussion in other people's critique, which is really difficult for me because the language difference. And that's the department critique. At the end of each year, the first year and the second year, there will be a yearly critique, which you need to set up like this. I think this is the architecture department. So for the yearly critique, you need to set up your work in a room, like galleries, to set up everything you have or you want to discuss, you want to show in the past year. And for the whole day, you're waiting in your own room, and there will be teachers or there will be department heads from a different department or come to your space and talk with you. So this is another different way of critiques. So you take opinions from people are not in your department. So like, for example, for 2 years, I think there will be I don't quite remember, 4 to 5 artists. They will come to talk with you. So for example, I got the 2D department, I got the sculptures professor, and I got the metal smithing, and I got the 3D department. So I got four of them. They will have their own schedule. They will come to talk with you, and it's not necessarily 1 hour, but depends on how your conversation goes. So they will share their opinion based on their profession, their professional point of view, and that's a good chance you can get so many different thoughts about your work. And at the end of the yearly critique, all the teachers will gather around, and this critique will take about a week, because each day only 2 departments can be, the teacher only can do 2 departments. So after the yearly critique, and all the teachers will gather around and they will discuss what they see and what they like, what they don't like. And if there's a certain students, there are more than one teacher thinks he got the difficult time in this school, and there's a good chance your department head will come back to tell you their concern, and they might ask you to leave the school, or in some case they will fail you, or they will discuss with you for temporarily leaving the school, or do you want to transfer to different department, different school. So there's also can be quite serious discussion about this, but most of the students will pass. So this is how the school function. So you don't get a score, and you don't really get a ranking about the student in the department. You only will get to know if you are pass or fail. So there's no ranking. They only tell you if you can continue or not. And like I said, that most of the students can finish their 2-year program quite smoothly. So other than your own department's activity, you also can take election, which means you can participate in different departments' critique, and they will also come to critique one of your work. So it's actually a lot of time, a lot of effort for students who decide to take elections. And also the school will have many visiting artists. They will do lecture, they will do seminar. Sometimes they have some workshops going on, and they are not mandatory. So you can decide, do I want to go to this lecture or not? Do I want to participate in this event or not? It's basically all depends on your own decision. So I think overall, studying abroad, you need to be quite clear about what you want and who you are. But in Cranbrook, I think it's very specifically clear that you need to make all your decision, because the school won't fail you if you don't go to a lecture or you didn't do well in the critique. So it's all about yourself. So this is also from the yearly critique. So this is each department have their own art space, their own room. So people can go in there and install their work and open for the discussion. So this could be the critiques set up. And you can see this is a different style of room. You can see the old space heater and all windows. So this is I think this is a 2D department. They do mostly graphic design, and their studio has got different shape and different sizes. And this is a ceramic department. They have similar studio space with the fibers. So they just right downstairs. And this is a fiber studio. You can see they have a loom and they have some yarns. And the school won't actually as a quite experimental school, Cranbrook doesn't have really good equipment in the professional fiber art field. So for example, you need to do some traditional craft for example, for the loom, they don't have a lot of it, and they don't have a lot of variety of it. And if you need material, you need yarns, you need dyeing material, and then you need to get all that by yourself. So for people who want to do a lot of technical work, Cranbrook might not be the best option. But for people who want to explore the possibility of the concept, then it's a really interesting place to go. Okay, so this might be the photos department. And this, I got this from the Cranbrook fan page on Facebook. So this is the yearly critique that I was talking about. So some people choose to set up their work in the critique room, which more looks like a gallery. And some people choose to set up their work in their studio space. And what's really interesting is because the limitation for the techniques and for the medium you use is not very limited. So you can see sometimes people in their department, but they are not doing what they're supposed to do. In ceramic field, you can see they are doing ceramic. And for example, for this one, not only the ceramic pots that he's making, he also have some prints and some paintings. And this one, it's got, by the image you can see, it's more like a textile field, but it's actually from the metal department. And this is the metal department as well. You can see they are, for the metal department, you can see most of their work, either they are very experimental or they will be more close to making jewelries, but not necessarily like traditional jewelries. And this one is the print media, which is printmaking, but it's a very old techniques. But what's very interesting is not many people in this department is just solely using the printing techniques to present their work, to make their works. And this will be also influenced by the department's head. Some department's head is quite strong. They got a strong opinion of how this field should look like. And their thoughts will influence the student quite directly. So for example, when I was there, I think maybe it's still the same, but ceramic department is one of the department. It's quite, I got a strong feeling that their work got very close style and co-aesthetic, and you can see that from their department head. So they got quite, it's not necessarily a bad things, but that you can see quite clearly who's their teacher are and what they are trying to achieve. And for like the printmaking or there's also from the printmaking department, which you can see they use a lot of fiber techniques like quilting. There's also printmaking. And this is the photo department. It's nothing photography is involved in this one. And there's also photos. And this is the fiber department. You can also see, I think she's using glass and sand to make the work. It's not very craft-based work. It's also fiber. It's also fiber. And this is the painting department. She's making three-dimensional work, kind of like the soft sculpture. So painting. And Cranbrook is got a very, well, like what we said, the population for the student is quite small. It's like 150 to 170 students. And in this population, there are about 1/3 are international students. And each years are different. So mainly they are most of them from China, from Korea, and then there's other rest and from Canada, but they are quite not that obvious to observe. And from Taiwan, and some, I know for my year, there's an Indonesian, there's a Japanese, but they're like usually like one and two. The most of them are Korean and Chinese. And for my year, I'm the only Taiwanese. And the year before me, there's also one Taiwanese. So you need to do a lot of things by yourself. And there's not an environment that you can speak Chinese. You don't get a lot of chances to speak Chinese, which is also a good thing. But that's another thing you need to get used to when you go into this school. This is a sculpture students. Also sculpture, they're making video work. Okay, so there are many work that you can see. So this is what I mentioned. When you are trying to do research on the schools, you need to look at the students' work to see how you fit into, or do you like this style, and do you like their work? Do you think you can do better than them, or you can feel challenged in this space? So this is quite important to know and to see. This is 2D and 3D design. 3D design is they also make a lot of conceptual work, but they have a strong tradition of making furniture, especially chairs, and that's also based on their teachers' profession. So this is 3D design. And for the extensional work, not just for school work, each year each department can have field trip, or it's mandatory. You need to have a field trip, and the school will funding the field trip. Not much. I don't think they're funding a lot because I didn't even feel the fund. But you can choose wherever you want to go. And that's also something very interesting, because for ceramic department, they got a big sponsor. The school board is their fans. So not just the ceramic, also the metalsmithing department. So they got a big sponsor. So each year they go abroad, they go to different countries for their field trip, which is quite amazing. And now what you can see in the image is the ceramics cup sale. They ask each student from the department, they need to offer 10 cups made by themselves in different degree, because some people just print or paint images on a cup which is already made, and some people made from scratch. And each cup will sell like, I don't know, $20 to $50, depends on the author, the artist who make the work. And the cup sale is a tradition way that ceramic department is how they raise fund for their field trip. And it's quite popular because they did really well for each cup, and each cup look different. And the price is not that high. So each year there's a big event. And for fiber department, we go to New Orleans for the first year. And the second year, we got a big dream. So we go to Cuba, which is quite strange because you go there as American schools. So you can see very different way to be treated. This is the cafeteria that I was talking about. We didn't, for the photos, the photo were taken, we didn't really show like where you can take all the food. It's like maybe down here. This is the Thanksgiving dinner party. So for a student who didn't leave the school for Thanksgiving, they will host a traditional Thanksgiving dinner. And I think you pay for like $10, $15 for it. But it's quite fun because you can see you can have meals in the whole grand cafeteria space, and which was what I was mentioning about. It's a mid-century style of architecture. So it's a quite amazing place to stay in because they have so many beautiful scenes and beautiful architecture to see, to look at. So at the end of my presentation, I want to sum up with few things that you should know after you starting, or you decided to go to study in different country. So the first one is visa, which I was talking about. You need to know when is your visa start, how to apply for it, and when it will end. And this is very important because if you didn't leave the country before the deadline, and then there might be a punishment, which you might not be able to enter the country for many years. Or if you enter the country, it will be harder for you to apply for a new visa because your name will be marked. And second one is for school break. So the US semester is basically very similar to Taiwan semester, but what's different is the school ends almost 1 month earlier than Taiwan's school break, and it will end in May and will start in September. So you'll have like 3 or 4 months break for summer break, and like almost 2 months for winter break. And in the middle, there will be spring break for a week, and like Thanksgiving or a big event, many people go back to their home with their family. So making plans for the school break is also very important, because it's not something you just feel relaxed and the time will pass. You should use every minute when you are in the country, so you can do many things. You can travel to Europe. You can travel in the US, and you can go to do a residency program. You can apply for it, and sometimes they have fund. So the school break is good opportunity to do many different things, to try out different things. And the third one is medical needs. The traveling was very convenient. So I know many people would choose to come back to Taiwan during the break for the medical treatment or to go to hospital. But if you need the school or got insurance to do all that. So to know more about the medical system of the country you are going to is also very helpful, just in case there's an emergency or just in case you need any help. And the fourth one is weather, which I was talking about. For example, like Cranbrook is very, very cold. So you need to learn how to drive on the snow, and you need to learn how to dress for the snow, and just let your body get used to it. And the fifth one is your plans after school. So do you plan to stay in the US for longer, for green card, for a job? And if so, and then you need to work on your visa, and you need to do some research on after school, which state you are going to, which city you are going to, and what kind of job you're looking for. So this is something also need a lot of effort to do research. And for this aspect, to learn from other international students, from people who come here before you, is also very, very helpful. And the last one is protecting and adapting. So in my case, US is quite, you will find out very quickly that US is not as safe as Taiwan, especially Cranbrook is, even we are located in a very rich area, but like Detroit is only 30 minutes away from our school. So you will have chances to get into many different environments. So to know how to protect yourself is very important things. And also you need some flexibility to adapting the culture, adapting the people. So for example, everyone is quite for Cranbrook, most of the students are between 25 to 35. So if you just after graduate from college and then you go there directly, you will be really, really young in there. So for people not in your age range, they will be very independent compared to college student in Taiwan. So you need to know how to ask for help and how to be friendly, but also trying to do many things by yourself, and which is, I think, is very important things that you learn and where you can experience when you go study in different country. And I didn't choose after graduated because I have some medical need. So I decided I don't want to stay in the US, and also for financial reason, I don't think stay in the US is the best way for me, best chance for me. So I decided to go back to Taiwan. And before I coming back to Taiwan, I we do a weaving. I don't have image here, but we did a weaving workshop together along with few fiber friends, and I also do have a road trip with my friends for about 3 weeks. So the road trip is something I also recommended for travel plans in the US, because you can see many different things and you can see many different scenes, and not just for the big city that we know. So we drive from, and we actually do it twice. So the first time is a smaller one. We go from here and all the way to New York to visiting one of our friends. And the last time, my friend and I, we travel from Michigan to Chicago and all the way to many national park like Yellowstones, and then go to Seattle, to Oregon, and all the way down to LA to also visiting friends, and then go to Las Vegas for a concert, and then we come all the way back. So we travel the Midwest and the West Coast for most of the US, and it's such an experience which I recommend it if you're young and you have friends that you can share a car, a small space with you, and then it's a fun things to do. Okay, so that's about my presentation. So hopefully it will be helpful for people who are interested in education or school in different countries. 好，那么有人有问题吗？我们可以用中文做问答的部分。
谢谢安丽老师，很详细。对，那我先来问好了。
好，
对，因为我想现场也有一些研究所的同学，那就是可以分享一下，就是安丽老师在念研究所的时期，从比较实际上探索，就是你的创作主题，然后中间因为当然学校有很多讨论的过程，那到最后完成然后做一个总结的时候，这些历程可以再简单跟我们分享一下，就是说针对创作的部分。
创作的部分吗？我觉得就是像我刚刚讲的，就是在这个学校在 Cranbrook 念书，你需要非常的独立。那独立这方面，它其实也包含了那个创作的层面，就是你是谁，你想要做什么，或者像以我的例子来说，对我来说，纤维到底是什么样子的概念，我想要怎么去发展它。那这个过程是我一直都很挣扎的，因为像像我们在学校在南艺，我在材质系，然后我看到应用所的作品，然后我看到台湾的纤维的艺术家作品，我大概有个概念说，在台湾纤维可能是长这个样子。然后你去到那边，你发现说，有人在做行为，有人在做录像，有人在做写作， 那对我来说，它的工艺这件事情，它的工艺性这件事情到底有多重要，它的材质的属性有多重要，然后我要怎么把我的想法呈现在里面。那我觉得这个是我在那一段时间内就是很痛苦，但是还蛮明确的找到说，这个是我的纤维的语言，然后这件事情是很奇妙的是有被大家接收到的。因为我觉得在那时候语言对我来说是一件很困难的事情，就是你可以讲你也听得懂，可是你的因为它不是你熟悉的语言，所以你表达出来的那个状态跟你真正脑袋里面想象的是有落差的，所以那时候你的创作就变成一个很好的一个辅助，就是让大家可以很直接看到说我是一个这样子的人，我在想着这样子的一件事情，我是这么看待纤维这件事情的。那这样子的非语言的方式，反而让大家可以更直接的了解说，你就是这样子的一个人，然后你是这么思考这件事情。我觉得这个是一个很有趣的一个用创作沟通的一个过程，对啊，所以这个也是我觉得我比较明确的，知道我在创作上想要做什么的。一个很重要的一个经历吧。
有没有几个例子是就是说就像你刚刚讲的，你可能捕捉到大家对你的理解，或者是大家对你的不理解的，有没有很具体的实际的例子可以跟我们分享？
实际的例子所以例如说他们都会觉得说，你就是一个安安静静的笑笑的人，好像都有在参与，可是好像没有什么意见，因为不是像我很多美国同学都很直接讲出来说，我不要去参加的活动，看起来无聊，或者说你作品好烂好无聊等等，就是他们会像我那时候，尤其是第一年，我觉得压力很大的时候，然后我又很不知道我要如何不透过比如说织啊染啊去做到我觉得我想要的作品的那个品质，然后又跟环境很不熟，所以我那时候就很小心翼翼的收集了很多我生活周围我可以找到的各种东西，然后加上我觉得语言这件事情对我来说很困难，所以我就找了很多跟语言相关，比如说书本啊，例如说稿纸啊、笔啊这些东西，或者任何长像文字形状的东西，然后把它们重组在一起。然后我就发现说，这个东西最后展出来的时候，大家会觉得说，他们有理解到说你例如说在材质上面的连接性，然后你是怎么去看待他们的，他们好像像侦探一样，他们可以慢慢拼凑起来说，你把这个东西跟这个东西放在一起，你把那个纸张上面的文字挑掉了，你在上面绣上了那个金葱的线了，你把这个很残破的东西然后小心翼翼的装饰起来了，所以有呈现出你那个有一点古怪的但是又很细腻的那个特质，然后就觉得他们反而从这个作品的还有我的材料选择上面可以理解说你到底是在做什么，对啊，所以我觉得这是一个还蛮有趣的一个过程。
那在学校的就是说在日常生活跟老师同学的连接就是那个密度有多高啊？因为如果在南艺好像密度是很高的。
Cranbrook 有点像南艺，就是它也是一个与世隔离的很小的学校。所以像我刚刚讲说，因为你的因为你要去觅食什么，其实都很不方便，所以学校那工作室的有一个厨房，那个厨房使用率非常非常的高，就是大家都会在那边吃饭，然后大家的生活基本上也都是绑在一起的。只是他们会有比较明确的那个区分，就是像说他不会工作跟娱乐全部都困在一起，当然大家都在工作的时候大家都待在一起嘛，那你有很多的讨论啊的那个深入的分享的时候，可是像例如说周末他们就是完全比如说工作室完全不会有人，因为大家都去约会了去派对了等等，所以那是一个很不一样的，就是他们要脱离就是完全人都消失，可是其他时间他还是很紧密的绑在一起，所以我觉得这个其实可能跟南艺还蛮接近的。
当然我们 也会很好奇，就是说安利老师回国之后，然后也继续创作，那也投入纤维的教育。那不晓得你怎么看待，就是说你在美国学习到的经验，就是其实你有经过一个比较完整的训练的过程，然后再把这些经验又带回台湾，那你怎么看待就是说你的实际的运用，然后那包括你以前也是在台湾学习嘛，就是大学阶段在台湾学习，那等到你自己教书的时候，这中间有没有什么你观察到比较大的变化，或者是说你实际做了什么样子的调整，或者是改变？
我觉得我在教学上面相对还是蛮菜的，但是我在教或者是我自己在试不同的课程或跟学生的那个沟通的过程当中，我有渐渐的，或者我想要把我的思考的模式或者是我的创作的模式，我想要介绍给学生。那我觉得很重要的一件事情是你要知道对你自己来说的纤维表达的那个语言是什么。那可能因为目前我教的是材质系基础的课，所以我就觉得说他们其实连纤维的概念是什么或创作的概念是什么，其实还是相对的很模糊的。所以我在我在教学过程，我其实也会一直就是检讨自己，就是说我在创作那个过程当中，我的那个思考的脉络是什么样子的，那我要怎么让学生也可以有发展出自己的一个创作的模式，去找到自己想做的事情或想关心的事情。所以我就会以我现在的课程来说，我就是试不同的那个不同的技法跟不同的材料，然后尽量详细的讲解它的原理，但是同时我又不想要给他们太多那个传统的影子在，因为我希望他拿这个理论的基础去想想他自己要怎么去呈现它，就是这个是我一直在努力的部分，因为我相信你要像我们刚刚看到的那个很多学生的作品，他可能就是很奇怪啊，或者他完全没有在那个范畴之内，可是他在那个讨论的过程当中，你可以看到很清楚说他思考的那个方式，或他对于这个材质的思考，这个技法的思考是什么。所以我觉得要知道你的根源在哪里，这件事情其实还蛮重要的。出国念书还蛮好玩的，对啊，然后认识很多不同的人也蛮好玩的，你会认识到很多就是很讨厌的人你就会知道说国外也有很多很奇怪的人跟他的文化跟国家背景也有很大的关系，就是有些美国人很自大，然后我想说反正你就是你来自一个无忧无虑的国家，所以但我觉得它也是一个很好的机会，就是让你看清楚你自己的文化背景，你的教育背景对你造成的影响。我觉得这件事情真的是算是老生常谈嘛，但是就是你真的是去到了其他地方之后才会意识到说这个你称之为家的地方是它的问题在哪里，它的挣扎在哪里，还有你的那个情感是什么样子的。
那我刚刚有想到一个问题，就是说从他们的科系的分类来讲，看起来是还有一个就是说细分科目，包括材料或者是技术的那种分类的方式。对，但是进去的学生他的创作其实没有太多的限制。那这个跟他们整体的艺术的环境有什么样的关联？因为在台湾，用材质来定义你的创作内容，好像是大家蛮能够接受的一种方式。 就是你是做纤维的，你是做陶瓷的，好像这样讲人家就懂你在做什么。对，那在美国是大概是什么样一个情况？
我觉得像我之前有被那个 Arizona State 那个学校给录取，所以我那时候去看他们学校的样子，其实跟南艺比较接近一点，就是你可以看到做纤维的人就是主要还是在那个纤维的基础之上去做表现。那我觉得 Cranbrook 它不太一样的一个地方，就是它对于这些材质的分类并没有这么的强烈的限制，然后反而是它整体有一个很强烈的创作的一个氛围，就是就连是平面设计或者是那个家具设计、立体设计的这些部门，他们也都经常做一些很概念性的实验性的东西，所以我觉得学校它提供的是一个很强烈的创作者的一个表现，创作者的一个身份，所以反而在那个比较表面的那个材质的限制之上，它相对的就没有这么的强烈或这么的直接，就是只要你做的是创作，那只要你在那个讨论的过程当中，你可以说服得了大家，或者你作品本身就大家就可以接受的话，那你的媒材啊、你的表现这些其实就不是太大的问题。但是创作的那个核心是非常的，就是感觉出来在那个学校气氛是非常的崇高的。
那就是说创作的环境呢，就是比如说毕业之后，他身为一个艺术家或身为一个纤维艺术家，哪一种是比较大家可以接受的？就是因为在台湾好像有一个蛮明显的区隔。
美国其实也有
也有吗？
有很明显的，就是像之前在费城有举办那个纤维双年展，然后就可以看到说去参加那个纤维双年展的人真的就是就很像我们去公寓所上课会遇到的人那样就是穿的很多手染的衣服啊，然后看起来很自然，然后吃素啊，不染头发啊，就是好像是一个很既定的印象。可是你很少看到那种很时尚啊、花枝招展的人去参与那个展览。那当然，作品里面也有一些比较当代的作品，然后也有一些是很在它题材是当代，可它在传统的媒材底下，像说我就是一个织布的创作者，我就是一个拼布的创作者。就是这种的类型也很多，然后有一个比较有趣的就是纤维的创作者，他是可以你是可以在当代的展览、当代的画廊里面看到这些作品，可是它同时还存在着另外一个很独特的一个群体，就是很独特的一个画廊类型，就是它是偏工艺类型的画廊，然后在那种画廊里面，它也会办展览。然后但是你会看到说他也会贩卖一些例如说艺术家手做的饰品啊，然后包袋啊等等的东西，就是他的那个工艺的气氛是非常的浓厚的，然后他会展出一些器物类型的东西，那种东西你就不会在一般的那个商业画廊里面看到，所以他们那个群体也是很小，就是美国的也都觉得他们自己纤维艺术的那个圈圈很小，但是他们的那个分类来说，比我们来说还要更，就是每一个小分类来说，它是更完整的。他们有自己的群体在。
可能
那只是我觉得
成熟嘛，
比较成熟，然后虽然很小，可是我觉得他们的主流的艺术圈对于纤维的这个类型的接受度好像比我们更高一点。蛮明确的，应该说蛮明确比我们更高，因为台湾好像很容易被划分说你就是纤维的，你就在那一类里面，你好像就比较不会在那个商业主流里面看到这样子的东西。对啊，他们接受度相对是更高的，可是他们自己的小圈圈也是更明确的。但现在留学可能我不知道现在的状况是怎么样子。对啊，因为 签证的申请这些可能或学校要不要录取国际学生这件事情，我知道这2-3年的变动是非常的大的。对啊，然后他们现在目前是好像比较倾向全面开放，可是这个真的是就是变动很大的一件事情，每年都在改变的一件事情。
还蛮就是对案例还蛮好奇，就是因为毕竟你从台湾的一个学院体制下面，然后转换到就是国外的时候，因为那个视野的角度一定会不同嘛。所以就是那时候刚出国的时候，可能第一年，因为刚刚有听到你讲说，那时候你觉得有很多自己对自己的一些疑问啊，比如说像你刚刚提到公益性的问题这些，所以我会还蛮好奇这一年的时候，你很多一些经历的磨合啊，或者是创作上面的一个切入，都是用那时候是不是会觉得就是会很好奇你是怎么去把那个心情调整转换成那样子的一个模式，然后再进行到第2年。
因为在那边是一个就是很小的学校，有个很可怕的地方，就是你做什么事情都被看得很清楚，所以那时候有一个很强烈的我要证明我自己的那个心理，就是我要在这个群体里面表明我的站足我的脚步，然后我要证明我自己的存在，就是我要证明我的能力这件事情。所以你就会找很多不同的方法去，就一方面看着周围的人，包括不同的专业、不同的同学，不同国籍的同学，他们怎么去做创作啊，怎么谈创作这件事情，然后从这之中慢慢去找到一个适合自己的方法。对啊，那我觉得蛮意外，就是在作品上面证明自己这件事情，我本来以为是最困难的，但反而是它是让我觉得说，别人看我看的最清楚的一个东西。所以那时候其实你要说怎么调试这件事情，或怎么去改变不同的环境之下，或不同的思维的模式之下，怎么发展你自己的话，就是咬紧牙根努力的把自己表现出来。因为对我那个时候来说，我觉得我的生活的状态，或我自己的个人的情感情绪的状态，对于我的作品其实有很大的影响。所以对我来说，我那时候处于一个有口难言的一个阶段，就是我觉得我很难用语言表达出来自己的想法，然后就是我要讲出好笑的笑话也很难，我要跟他吵架吵赢也很难，所以我就觉得我投注了非常非常多的心力在我创作出来的这个东西上面。然后当然我因为受到那个学校影响，所以我就也发现说，其实那个很具体的技法跟形式这件事情，它其实不一定很重要。那我其实就因为我不是一个那么就是胆大的人，所以我就是在每次不同的评图之间或作品之间，我就会就是以我自己可以接受的方式，然后一点一点试着去说，那我不要做的这么严谨，我再放松一点，我再让我的语义再模糊一点，然后我用的技术啊什么，就是更宽广一点，一点一点的放松，或一点点放掉那个技术的层面，或者是美学上面做很多不同的尝试，然后看看周围的人对于作品的反应会是什么样子的。所以那时候就是有各式各样的那个情绪交融之下，然后就是其实那个过程其实还蛮煎熬的，就那2年我觉得我好像过了10年一样，就是非常的压缩的一个时间。对，但他就逼着你，就是整体的环境，然后跟看到周围的人，然后还有你自己在那个环境下你能做什么这件事情，其实就做了很多的尝试跟很多的调整。对，所以那个当时我好像没有想那么多，说我要怎么从台湾的那个状态转换到美国的那个状态，我就只是一直想说我要尽量的表现出来，尽量的去突破那个框架，因为我知道这是他们比较能够接受的一个方式。
谢谢。那我可以另外请问一下，像你们学校，就是因为感觉你们校风还蛮自由的，就是没有什么样的课表这样。那像你们的毕业门槛是什么？
毕业门槛就是毕业门槛其实相对的宽松，我们就是就是美国很多学校大家都开玩笑说是进去难，但是出来容易，就是你很难录取率可能不高，可是毕业率很高，因为学校的资源有限，他不想要一直留着人，或者是他可能在你毕业之前他就把你劝退了，说你要不要休学一下，你要不要考虑去读别的学校啊，你要不要先去工作啊，整理完心情再回来这样子。那我们学校的毕业门槛其实相对蛮简单，就是你要参加那个毕业联展，就是我们刚刚说在那个Cranbrook Art Museum 里面就做一个大型的联展，然后你有参与那个展览，然后你要写一个我们叫 thesis book， 就是像你们的论文一样，可是它的论文跟台湾论文不一样的地方，就是它并不要求格式，就是那本书就是你自己的书上面印着你的名字，然后只要你那本书你的老师让你通过了，他在你的那个申请表上，在你的那本书，就是当你们要讨论说我那本书要怎么做嘛，那你那本书做出来之后，他在你那本书上签名之后，基本上你就通过了。所以那本书其实非常的，像我用一个比较传统的方式在做，就是我在里面。就是有贴了我的就是里面有很多我的创作的，在这2年间创作的历程啊，然后我的创作的理念，还有创作的那个核心的那个概念，然后把它写下来，然后搭配我作品的图片这样子。所以这是一个大家比较常用的做法。那但是其实像我们有同学，就是他就很讨厌写文字，所以他就找了一个很厉害的同学帮他写了2篇介绍的文章，或者像评论的文章这样，然后放在那本书的最前面，然后后面全部都放作品，他自己没有写什么文字，老师签了名，他也就过了。所以它是一个相对的宽松的，就是你要做一本书出来，可是它没有严格的那个格式的一个要求。所以就是一本论文跟毕业联展，你就可以毕业了。
了解，谢谢。
那非常感谢安利的分享。那
不会，
学校见了。其他同学如果有还想要再跟安利老师讨论，也可以看安利老师的课表，去课堂上找他。对，
没错。
那我们今天就很谢谢。那有机会学校见。
好，谢谢大家。